Thank you, everyone. Thank you for bringing me this great opportunity to share some of my views about decentralized credit and financial crisis here. Thank you. So, my name is Stewie, and I'm the founder of a blockchain project called DCC, Decentralized Credit Chain. So, we are a decentralized credit ecosystem that services banks, financial institutions, micro-lending platforms. So we provide a brand new decentralized credit data transferring protocol for all the business parties who are in the credit business. So I was studying at Yale University at 2008. So when I was graduated and I can't find a job because the renowned financial crisis. So I choose to be an entrepreneur. So I choose to be a financial economist. So I studied at Oxford University, then the London School of Economics as a PhD student. So I was inspired by, or sort of like brainwashed by the great stories like Mark Zuckerberg or Jack Ma. So I choose to drop my PhD study at the third year and return to my home country, the great China, to be an entrepreneur. So when I returned to my country, the area I was working in is the Fintech. At that time, it was called something like internet finance. So we were very lucky because of the IT infrastructure of China and is super strong, as well as a mobile coverage. So the industry booms. So for example, the micro online lending market at the end of 2014 is almost zero, and after 4 years it goes to like 400 million something. And my company is a SaaS company. So at that time we provide the SaaS service for the licensed financial institutions in China, as well as those micro lending platforms. So you can see there are a lot of very successful micro-lending platforms now listed in America. NYSE, NASDAQ, they're all very big companies. I sold the company for $150 million US in cash last year, and DCC is my second project. So I was keep thinking about the financial crisis and especially the micro-lending market, the shadow banking market when I was an entrepreneur. It's because I have been seeing so many beautiful theories talking about the reason of the financial crisis, like adverse selection, information asymmetrics, or contagion theories. I think all of these theories are making sense, but none of them actually provide an ultimate solution to that problem. And when I was an entrepreneur, I've been seeing data from those micro-lending companies in China. They're all doing great, like billions profit annually. But I also see problems, like they charge the interest rate as high as 600% annually. The highest I've been seeing is over 2,000% annually. You guys can never imagine that. They also causes problems like from the debt collectors. They put those companies in East Asia to push people to pay the money back. It's a bad problem, bad things in terms of the social welfare. So I was thinking, is there an ultimate solution for that? So I found it is a mechanism behind the credit business. It's too old. You need to change. You cannot just, issue a new policy or, to ban those online lending platforms or put some other stresses on those, creative like fintech companies to solve that. You need something new. So one day I met, I remember it was like the first time I met blockchain is 2013, Bitcoin. I read the paper. So until I investigated more and more about that technology, I found that might be the ultimate solution to that problem. So finally, last year we come to develop a new, brand new blockchain-based decentralized credit data transferring protocol. So, which is DCC. So by doing this, we want to transfer the original or the old traditional credit business structure and return the credit data to the users. In Asia, especially in my country, China, we are so getting used to things like data leaking, And we have been heard the big companies like Baidu, they were, talking about, okay, so it is okay if we, if no one's really care about your data ownership. So if this happens in countries with such big population, it causes problem. So how do we solve that? So we issue tokens. So we issue tokens to the users and we give them an intuition that your data was money. Especially when you're walking into a bank, you might have like 10 saving accounts in 10 different banks, or you like apply for a small cash loan or car loan or student loan. Every single time you submit your name, your mobile, your address. So in our ecosystem, you will be rewarded with DCC tokens. And those tokens are listed in crypto exchanges, the best and the biggest exchanges in Asia with full liquidity. So that is the first first way to give the users, especially in East Asia, China, Korea, an intuition that your financial credit data was money. So we also been seeing the other problems within the traditional lending business, like the transaction cost. High interest rate, as I mentioned earlier, and distorted credit profile. So here I want to talk a little bit about the high transaction cost. It's like normally we're getting used to the payment, like the credit card. But if you do online lending, actually the transaction cost is very high. Most of the fees is charged in terms of service fee, but the user has no intuition about that. So a lot of problems. I'm gonna not talk a lot about it here. So in our decentralized ecosystem, if all the business parties like the online lending platform, banks who are providing the capital, online traffic providers, risk control technique providers, data collectors, debt collectors, if they all joining our DCC ecosystem, they're using the decentralized protocol to transfer credit data, you will be able to reduce the dominancy and the profit sharing of those authorized banks or big internet companies like big data islands. And it will also provide the users data and privacy, and also improve the efficiency and reduce the cost of data validation process. So my time is quite limited here. I'm not going to talk the details about how this works. So basically it's like when you transfer your own credit data through the chain will save the hash summary of all dimensions of your credit data. So maybe 80 dimensions or 100 dimensions, but you would be able to either save your data locally or in the cloud. So on the chain, there's only hash summary. And you will be able to form one single DCC profile. This profile works like a traditional ID in traditional banks. But in this case, you will be able to control like what banks or what financial institution or what financial services I would like to send like my credit data profile to. So in this case, there is no redundant like resource being cost by all those financial institutions to buy data and set up like super strong IT infrastructure to achieve a full user profile. So you will see a lot of ROS like lending institutions, and other professional financial services providers to join our ecosystem. And here is one example. We actually worked with one Chinese licensed micro-lending platform to develop this D-app last month. So this is a traditional online lending D-app, but they are using the DCC protocol to transferring those credit data. So there's no difference of like user experiences because for our first generation of main chain, we didn't consider a lot on the Ethereum structure. We use PBFT, so it maintains speed. So make sure those traditional business parties in the lending business, they don't lose customer. So like 1 month, we have over 45,000 downloads and 4,581 transactions, landings. We also develop our own D-app. So it's the BitExpress is our own D-app, which published last month as well. So in this D-app, so our goal is try to facilitate like people's like user habit in terms of like when they submitting all their financial information. So for example, like your name, your mobile number, your address. So we just give them like a small missions. When you just finish those like data uploading job, you will be accredited with tokens. And the data is not here. It's not in our organization or company. It's a hash summary saved in the DCC chain. You still keep the data. But after you finish this, you will be able to have a DCC profile. And we will reward a lot of like good behaviors in lending. For example, when you pay the money back in time, you will be able to reward it with DCC tokens. So something like that. There is a mechanism for rewarding in our DCC ecosystem. This is our Explore. We're working on our next generation of main chain, which will be published in the first quarter of 2019. This is our roadmap. And we have a lot of strategic partners because in the next 6 months, we focus on globalization. And now we're working closely on like 2 countries. First is Korea, second is Indonesia, because their user habit, especially those online behaviors, is quite similar like China. So we're working with the biggest Korea P2P firms. So, and we have the incubators like Plug and Play, our strategic partners. And we worked with some really successful smart contract companies like CITIC from Colombia. So we're doing so far so good. So we raised about 40 million in 2 rounds of private sale. Each round costs like 7 days. And in public sale, we finished in May, and we finished it in only 20 minutes. So altogether, we raised about 55 million US dollars, and we were listed last month on crypto exchanges on June 22nd. So the first cryptocurrency exchanges like KuCoin and Fcoin now is the world #1 trading volume cryptocurrencies in CMC and BBox. So I was Ella Mata from Oxford University Side Business School, so I want to make contribution to my school. So here I also want to announce that we will launch a DCC Korea Development Fellowship with University of Oxford on 17th this month. In this fellowship, we recruit the financial economists, not only the blockchain technology. We try to investigate the influence of applying this new blockchain technology to the credit business. So here, to summarize, I think if we would be able to consider this new in terms of credit data transferring system, we will be able to reach the benefits like lower cost, data flows freely, and the transaction happens at a quicker pace, and we will be able to reach the higher data integrity. So I always thinking that if we want to investigate some new or the white spaces, untapped territories, there might be like two ways. We can form the companies like R3, or we can consider to build up something from the very beginning. Like what we do, I choose the second way. It's like the entrepreneurship in the internet business. So thank you very much for your time.